country was going to be so great that they're going to eradicate slavery, that they were going to treat everyone equally, that we were all going to have the same rights as everyone. It was going to be wonderful. So what did I do? I ran home and told my mom, I said, Mom, guess what? I'm going to fight in the war. I'm going to fight in the war, but I'm going to fight for democracy. I'm going to fight for freedom and justice and equality. That's what I'm going to do. My mother looked at me and thought I was crazy. She said, you aren't doing anything. I said, but Mom, you don't understand. We are the United States of America. We are free. And well, we were already free. And she says, but, I'm going to fight for freedom for everybody. Oh, Mom, this is going to be great. She says, James, I'm not going to tell you again. I'm not fighting in a war. But if you don't get your chores done, there's going to be a war between the two of us. So I was like, oh, Mom, boy, you know how moms are. Well, I was determined that I was going to fight in this war. And it just so happens, 2 years prior, my father had already passed from illness. But he worked at a gentleman at the cell law. A gentleman by the name of Robert Bridges owned the cell law. So I just said, hey, my father took me to the job, to his job many times, so I know how to sew. I'm doing the stitching and everything. I said, but I'm the man of the house. I need to get a job. So what do? I go to Robert Bridges and I work for him. Now I'm making the sales for the ships that are going to beat the British. I'm doing my war effort. This is good. Now I'm 14 years old. I walk up to my mother and I said, Mother, I'm a man now, so I can fight in the war. She says, no, you're not. And you're still not fighting in the war. Gonna go to work and do what I tell you to do. Boy, I tell you, moms are rough. But there's a good thing. You see, it just so happens that Mr. Bridges he purchased 2 privateer ships. So I said to him, I said, how about if you go to my mother and tell her that I'm working on your ships, maybe she'll let me fight in the war. He says, oh, that's not a bad idea, James. So he goes talk to my mother. My mother says, yes. I'm like, yeah, I'm fighting in the war. This is good. Well, we get out. I'm out there like 3 weeks. We captured 3 British ships. Ladies, let me tell you something. I brought home a chest of money, set it in front of my mother's feet, and that woman fell in love with me with no problem. No matter what I said or did, she was like, James, you are a real man now. And I said, wait, this is wonderful. I said, so can I go back out? She said, you can do whatever you want. You keep bringing me money like that. So I said, very good. So we go back out. Unfortunately, this time we're being chased by a British ship and we get captured. Now, I am a prisoner of war. Well, things are getting a little touchy now because according to the law, as a black man, I should have been sent to the West Indies and been a slave for the rest of my days. But the hand of God was on my side. You see, it just so happens that the captain of the ship, he had 2 sons on board with him. And his oldest son's been traveling, sailing with his father for many, many years. But the younger son, he and I are about the same age. This is his first time, and he was a little queasy. So the captain says to me, he says, I need you to keep an eye on my son for me. And I said, okay, no problem. So what are 2 teenage boys going to do? We're going to play a game of marbles. What else are we going to do? Nothing else. So we play a game of marbles. Unfortunately, I beat the boy so bad that he couldn't stand it. He could cry to his father. Well, the father comes down to me and he says, James, what are you doing to my son? I said, son, we're just playing marbles. I said, it's not my fault you didn't train him right, didn't show him how to play the game properly. So, would you like to challenge me? He says, oh, you got a lot of nerve. Well, yes, let's play a game of marbles. Well, I beat the father as bad as I beat the son. We had so much fun that the father decided that he was going to send me to England to live with his son in his villa. He was going to give me an education and he was going to give me my freedom. Well, we had one problem. Actually, we had 2 problems. I thought it was a wonderful idea. It was a beautiful gesture, and I was so grateful. But like I said, there's a problem. Problem 1, I'm not a slave. That's 1. Problem 2, I am an American citizen. I would never, I'm almost done. I will never betray my country. So he said, because of your personality and because of your ability to stand on your beliefs, instead of me treating you like a slave, I'm going to treat you like the rest of the white men and send you to our prisoner of war camp, which is in Brooklyn. Don't go by and visit. Don't even look for it because it's disgusting. Well, I'm there for 9 months. They released me. I had to walk from Brooklyn, a prisoner of war. I had to walk from Brooklyn to Trenton. No food, no shoes. When I get to Trenton, I get a pair of shoes and some bread, and I walk from Trenton to Philadelphia. When I get here, my mother and sister couldn't recognize me. I looked a hot mess. Well, they nursed me back to health. And you know what I did when I became healthy? I went back to Mr. Bridges and I told him, I said, listen, we're making a lot of mistakes with our sales. And I told him this, that, and this. He was like, oh, that's impressive. So he decided to send me to England to study sailmaking. I was there for a year and a half. I come back, you know what he does? He makes me an apprentice. I'm there an apprentice for a couple years. Then he's ready to retire. Now, most men do what? They hand the business down to their children, right? He decided to sell the company to me. And what do? I become one of the wealthiest men in America. And what do I do with my money? I invest in freedom. Because I remember what was said when I was 9 years old, that all men had the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, that we have the right to equality and justice for all. So I use my money to make sure that happens. Now, I have a gift for the two of you. All right? A day is going to come. You're going to get an idea and it's going to resonate right there. Then all of a sudden, it's going to filter down. It's going to sit right here in your heart. And when it does that, and it comes to full fruition, you know what I want you to do with it? I want you to take your idea and throw it back up to God and give it to him. Guarantee you, he's going to take you places you never thought you would ever go. He's going to make you greater than you ever imagined. You know why? Because you're created in his image. And because you're created in his image, there is nothing that you cannot do. Don't you ever let anyone tell you what you can't do, where you cannot go. You have the authority to do whatever you want. You understand me? And you see them two people standing behind you? They're going to make sure that whatever you need, they're going to provide. Because they're going to make sure that you achieve the goals that God has given you. You understand me? All right. Because, let's think about it. If God could do that for me when I was 9 years old, can you imagine the gift that he's got in store for the two of you? Boy, I can't wait. And guess what? I'm still going to be sitting here when you get old enough to tell the story. You're going to come back and you're going to tell my story. You're going to say, oh, James, let me tell you what God has done for me. And I'm going to go, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be sitting right here going, yes, don't tell me. You got it? That is my story.
Thank you, James.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Wow.
So you all please have a wonderful time. And I appreciate you all, what you have accomplished over your years and what you have given back to the community, because they really need it. And please keep giving it to them because they don't know what they're going to see. All right? It's a pleasure meeting you. You take care.